Cuidado la cámara. Ya casi llegamos a la malla. Pasó, paisanos.
Para adentro.
Cruzar esa malla, la segunda malla.
Sí.
No, es fácil. Allá, allá por están las pinches. Con está la fábrica, ahí está la pinche puerta, allá de aquel lado.
Sí.
Todos creen que aquí no pasa ninguno, pero que pusiera 2, 3 mallas, le vamos a ganar a esta migración. El ser humano tiene más ideas que un aparato eso.
Pasaron como 20.
Pendejo, gracias por la
revista que estaba allá.
Los seres humanos tienen más ideas que un aparato eso. So they're saying, look, you know, a human being, we can figure out how to scale this thing. Now, of course, she's also...
Aparato device. Very good, by the way.
Gracias. Bueno, we have also from the U.S. Border Patrol, of course, she's talking to them, getting their perspective, because you go to the website, they say, yes, we're the guardian of the nation's borders, and so part of their mission is to prevent terrorists from crossing into the U.S. She has a little fun with that as well.
Huh.
Defense, along with the other components, help us protect this country from all threats. Those threats could include terrorists or persons smuggling instruments of terrorism. Just those are some of the threats that we face daily here along the southwest border.
What we don't ever want to see again is another 9/11, and if we have a weakness in our protection, we're just allowing that to happen.
Over the last quarter century, a total of 29 people have committed terrorist acts on U.S. soil. 24 arrived by plane. The other 5 were born here. Of the terrorists born elsewhere, here's where they entered the U.S. New York, New York, New York, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, New York, Newark, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Orlando, Washington, Cincinnati, Miami, Miami, New York, Washington, Los Angeles, New York, Newark, Miami, Orlando, Miami, New York, New York. You might sense a trend here. In fact, of all the terrorist acts in all of North America and Europe since 1993, the number of people who have crossed the U.S.-Mexico border to commit them is 0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Point be made.
Point be made. One final clip, if we can get to, this is surveillance video of some of the immigrants trying to hop the fence. Final clip. Here we go.
Wow.
The primary border fence, Mexico on the side, of course, as you can see the people crossing and heading toward a secondary fence. See it there? He's holding one of those makeshift ladders. It's a rebar, homemade thing. Crossing the first fence, then the guy is supposed to go up with the ladder. He throws it up, hooks it on, holds it steady, and then the guy's just supposed to start heading over. Here's one of our agents trying to respond to get to that area.
Is he going to make it?
He's got a ways to go.
So obviously Rory Kennedy in this 36 minutes is making the point that the $3.1 billion that the U.S. taxpayer is not worth much. But I think some of the criticism of this film that I read is the fact that she's pointing all of this out, but she doesn't really offer a solution.
Well, shouldn't the solution be a policy? I mean, isn't that what most intelligent people who follow this from the very beginning would argue, that we need a cogent policy that makes sense?
Not a physical barrier.
Not a physical barrier,
Something
but just say,
intangible.
right, exactly. Look, you got to leave the country. We don't want you here anymore. You leave now. You're allowed to stay because basically you meet the guidelines that we've established. I mean, right now it's, Katie by the door. We have no idea who's in, who's out, who can be in, who can't be out. Just a bunch of people screaming at each other on both sides.
I'd be interested as a female just what her experience was like. All these, hours working and living sort of around the border to get the story. And we're talking to her, you're talking to her next hour, also talking about what some people are...
She seems to have a point of view, and that's interesting. But the whole thing comes into play, and obviously...
It's a huge issue.
There's also a lot of talk show hosts out there who want people to be misinformed on this issue and make money by hearing people get angry, and the more they scream, the angrier those people get. That's a fact, okay? So let's not kid ourselves. Welcome back. I'm Rick Sanchez. Last hour we saw some very interesting, even amusing clips from The Fence. It's a new documentary showing at the Sundance Film Festival. With us now from Park City is the woman who made the film. There is Rory Kennedy. Rory, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Rick?
I bet you're freezing. At least it looks like you are, right?
Well, it's nice to see a little snow here. It's been great to be here at the Sundance Festival.
It's great to have you. I saw part of your film, and it seemed like you had a point of view here. And the point of view is that one of the things that so many Americans are so concerned about is probably not that big a concern. That's that fence that we're spending so much money to build across the border with Mexico.
Yeah, to me it's a significant issue. You know, we've built this 670-mile fence along the Mexican border, and it's cost taxpayers over $3 billion. And its purpose was to reduce immigration, reduce terrorism, reduce the number of drugs coming into the country. And based on all the research I did, it's really been ineffective on all of those fronts.
So what would you say to people who are you know, and I meet them all the time, and they write me every day. Their biggest concern, the thing they're most worried about, more than, in many ways, the economy, more than the terrorism threat and the wars going on in Iraq and Afghanistan, is those damn illegal aliens. What do you say to those people?
Well, you know, it's an issue. There's 500,000 people who come to this country every year who are illegal immigrants, and so I appreciate their concerns on the one hand. On the other hand, I'm not sure that building a fence is the solution. And again, based on everything I found, that really there's no reduction in the number of people coming over the border. You know, when you watch the film, you see that people are climbing over the fence. They're in fact driving over the fence in certain cases. They're going under the fence, and then they're also just walking around the fence because it ends constantly, because it's only 670 miles on a 2,000-mile border. So
your point is, look, the fence doesn't work.
So yeah, there's a lot of other solutions. We have to recognize that we have a complex situation here, and we can't just simply build a fence and think this is going to be a solution. And it's really a terrible fence. I mean, it's just not well built. It's inadequate. It's ill-conceived. I think it's just completely ineffective. Even people who were great advocates for the fence are now saying it really isn't working.